Checking connection.
You live over here.
Oh man.
Hey, yes indeed, it is she, Attorney Shequel Ross here, letting you guys know I am live. First of all, I want you guys to be able to see the surrounding and where we're at. So I have a challenge going on because a lot of people want to know where am I going to do my next live event, what's going on, where am I going to be at. That's for you to tell me. I want you guys to be able to tell me, anybody who can tell me where I'm located and where I am at. I might throw in something for you, maybe a free consultation, maybe helping you out with your case. Ignore the mosquitoes, it's just because I'm fly. But anyway, so yeah, basically what we're going to be talking about today is it illegal to videotape police officers? Is it illegal to record police officers? Is it illegal to pull out any sort of type of camera, photographs, and start recording police officers, right? There's a lot going on right now in the media where police officers are being recorded. It's actually saving people's lives, and it helps with investigations when it comes to police officers and what they're doing during encounters with citizens. So what we're here to talk about today is whether or not it's illegal to record police officers. So where does this come from, right? It comes from the Constitution. Under the First Amendment, we have a First Amendment right. The First Amendment gives you 5 freedoms, right? The first freedom is freedom to petition the government for redress or grievance, freedom to assemble, that's march, that's protest, that's get together on sidewalks, that's come together, and that means to have like protests. That's what that is, freedom to assemble. Also, freedom of press, freedom of religion, and freedom of speech, right? What is freedom of speech? Freedom of speech is basically, I can say and I can articulate my opinion. I can say how I want to speak. I don't have to be in fear of what I want to say, how I want to say it. Now, there are some limitations to that, but really I don't have to be in fear of how I want to express myself. It means all kinds of expressions. It means orally. It means in art format. It means writing. It means in print. It means in media. It is however you want to be able to do it. So freedom of expression and freedom of speech is a form of being able to video record police officers, right? Because you have a constitutional right to be able to do this. Okay? So now, a lot of you might be asking, but what states does this apply? Am I in a state that will allow me to be able to pull my phone out and video record a police officer if I see misconduct, if I see police brutality, if I see something going on? So I will tell you right now that there are about 38 states in the United States that allow citizens to record police officers as long as you don't interfere with their duties, right? There are 38 states across the board. Now you're probably wondering, what are those other states? Well, within the 50 states, there are 30 states that say, hey, you could pull out your camera, you could record, you can do media, you could do photographs, you could do pictures when it comes to recording police officers when they're in their official line of work, when they're on duty, okay? There are 12 states, though, that require consent of both parties. What that means is anytime you pull out a camera, anytime you're recording somebody, you have to get consent from the other party. It's a consent rule that these states have. There are 12 states that require both parties to give consent. What are those states? It's California, it's Connecticut, it's Florida, it's Illinois, it's Maryland, it's Massachusetts, it's Michigan, where I went to law school, shout out to Michigan. It's Montana, it's Nevada, it's New Hampshire, it's Pennsylvania, and it's Washington. Now, of those 12 states, there's a 2-party consent rule. But guess what? You don't have to get consent from the other person or the officer. There's an exception to this. It's called the exception of privacy. and where if that police officer is on duty, you don't have to get consent from them. It's called the police officer exception. It's the exception to the right to privacy, the invasion of privacy rule, right? So essentially, what does this mean? Altogether, what this means is that there are 48 states that say, hey, you can record police officers if they're in their official line of duty, if they're working, and if you are not interfering with their job, okay? Now, the 2 states that are basically saying, hey, we're not a part of this yet. There's been no case law, although there are cases right now in the Supreme Court discussing this. It is Massachusetts and Illinois. They're like, hey, this is still a new area for us. We're still trying to figure this out. But if you are in any of those 48 states, you have the right to pull out your phone to record a police officer during police misconduct or police brutality. Okay? So let's get right down to it. Let's get to some pointers. So anytime you're recording a police officer, or you see, let's say for an example, you see a police officer committing misconduct against someone, or a police officer brutally harassing someone, and you pull out your camera. It's a lot going on with technology right now. So you're like, you know what? I'm going to pull out my camera. It's okay to do that. And what I would tell you for sure, what you should not do is secretly record the police officers. I have an illustration of a phone in which I'm going to use, and where what you should not do, okay? There's case law on this. You cannot record them a certain way. You can't privately record them like this. Do not record them like this. They could miscrew that as it being a gun. Do not record them privately on the side or on the left. You pull out your camera and kind of act like a newscaster. That's what you are. You're a citizen. You're a citizen observing an event, and you are trying to get it on recording. So it's okay to do like this. Do not do like this in their face. It's black. You might get shot. You understand what I'm saying? You do it like this, and you record. Now, if a cop comes up to you and say, why are you interfering with me? Why are you recording me? You just calmly say, officer, no, let's talk about what you shouldn't say first, because I want to make sure that we capitalize on the no's and then end it with the yeses. So if an officer comes up to you while you're recording police misconduct or police brutality, what you're going to say if he says, why are you recording me? You're not going to say, I want to make sure you're doing your job right. I don't trust the cops. I don't trust you. You hurt my brother or my cousin, or you guys do things in this community that's not right. I want to get you on camera. You don't have to say any of that. You don't have to explain to the police officers all the injustices that they're doing. You don't say you're up to no good. I want to make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to do, right? This is what you say. Calm, cool, and collective, right? You say, if they say, why are you interfering with me? You calmly reply and you say, officer, I'm not interfering. I'm asserting my First Amendment right to record you, right? It's that simple. Officer, I'm not interfering, because he wants to know why you're interfering, although you're not interfering. You could be on that plateau back there. You could be on that rock back there. They're going to always say, why are you interfering? And you just calmly say, officer, I'm not interfering. I'm asserting my First Amendment right to record. Now, remind you, some of these officers are going to come back with the statement saying, hey, we're in one of the states that require a two-party consent rule where I have to give consent. And you kindly say to that, officer, that exception doesn't apply, because there's been new case law in those 12 states that have said, I don't have to get your consent when recording because you're an officer on duty. Okay? Let's go through some other things that they might say. Another thing that an officer might say is, stand over there. They might ask you to stand back 979 feet, 0.3 feet. And what you're going to say to that is, and you're going to say, okay, I'm not interfering with your line of work or your duties. I am asserting my First Amendment right to record you. And you keep recording. Like I said, you don't record like this. You don't put it in their face. You don't put it behind you. You don't secretly record, because you don't want them to try to bring charges against you with wiretapping. If you're recording and they don't know it, it's a form of wiretapping. An argument can be made against that. So like I said, you kindly assert your right, calm, cool, and collective. You put it out and you say, officer, I'm simply recording you because I'm asserting my First Amendment right to record. Now, let's say if they say something else. Who are you? Why are you doing this? Who are you working for, right? Where are you? Where do you come from? Do you have a badge? Are you supposed to be here? Don't get confused with the terminology. Don't get confused with the wording. Officer, I'm simply asserting my First Amendment right to record. If you want to get real savvy, you could say the First Amendment allows me freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of religion, and freedom to assemble, right? So a part of freedom of speech is freedom of expression, okay? So you're expressing your First Amendment right to do any type of media type of recordings. And if you guys have questions, you can go ahead and send some questions in. Do we have any questions?
We do have a few questions right now. Michael from Oklahoma wants to know, do I have the right to film someone else's traffic stop?
Okay, Michael from Oklahoma, yes, you do have the right to film somebody else's traffic stop. So what you would do in that situation, you would pull over, right? You would make sure that you're not interfering with any of the cop's duties, any of the cop's, what he has going on. You can kindly step back in a situation and you don't even have to let the officer know that you're recording. Like I said, you start recording. A lot of you like to record this way, up and down. A way to get that black line off of each side is to record like this. An officer knows what you're doing when you're recording like this. So you kindly record. If he says this is a traffic stop, you're interfering, then you say, officer, I'm not interfering. I'm simply asserting my First Amendment right to record you. If he says get back, stand over there, you can say, that's fine, officer. Where would you like me to stand? I'm willing to step away. I'm not interfering, and you keep recording.
Nisi on a mission from Instagram is trying to scout your location. She's saying you're somewhere in Midtown. So she's speculating. I don't know if you want to.
Okay. So yeah, like I said in the beginning, we have a challenge going on. A lot of you are curious about where I'm going to be next and where am I at and what's going on. I'm keeping the curiosity in the cats, right? So Nisi, she is thinking I'm somewhere in Midtown. I'm not too. No, I'm not in Midtown. No. And let me ask my team. Hold on.
No.
Okay, sorry. No,
I'm
not in Midtown. Sorry, you gotta guess again.
We'll let you guess. Nisi, we're going to come back to you in just a moment. Nisi wants us to go through what are the 5 freedom rights again.
Okay.
We'll go through those in just one moment. We have a question. Well, we have a comment from Facebook. Camila Scott says, I need a transcript, so don't forget this information.
Okay. You need a transcript of the actual the live event.
You can just let her know that she can.
I will get that. This will be on my Facebook page at Shequel Ross. It'll be on the law offices of Shequel Ross. It'll also be on my YouTube page, Shequel Ross or SHElaw Firm. So you'll be able to get it afterwards. And Nisi, just to answer your question, the 5 protections under the First Amendment are freedom to petition the government freedom to petition the government for redress of grievance, freedom to assemble, that means march, protest, freedom of religion, that means you could worship the rocks if you want to. You could worship God, you could worship Buddha, you could worship whatever you want to. It's your freedom of religion. Freedom of press and freedom of speech. Within freedom of speech, there's freedom of expression. Within freedom of expression, there's freedom to record. Basically, in layman's terms, that's what we're getting at. Okay, so let's keep going. Okay, so the cop might ask you, who are you, right? Why are you recording? Where are you at? Let me see your badge. You don't have to present a badge to any type of police officer asking you who you are. Okay, all these are deterrences to try to get you from off of who you are and your stance. You calmly, like I said, keep asserting your First Amendment right. Officer, I'm not trying to interfere. I'm simply asserting my First Amendment right to record you. Okay? So, let's say for an example, if he asks you, are you a journalist? You kindly say, officer, I'm not a journalist. I am a citizen and I have a right under the First Amendment to record any type of on-duty police officer type of work. And I'm simply asserting my First Amendment right to record. Let's say for an example, the cop says, I need to see your ID, pal. Hey, buddy, I need to see your ID. Hey, boy. Hey, pal. Hey, buddy. Hey, sir. Whatever words that they want to use. Don't get distracted. They're words, right? They're words. You have a right under the First Amendment to record. And guess what? Let me explain to you guys something. Let me explain something to you. Let's get real deep with this. There are 24 states that require you to stop and show proof of your ID, right? You have to Google this. Excuse me, I would say not only Google, but contact an attorney to see if you're within one of those states. Of those 24 states, an officer, if he asks you to see your ID, you have to stop and give him your ID because it's called the stop and show states. Georgia, where I live, Arizona, where I'm from, require that, just so you guys know, okay? You have to stop and give the officer your ID if there's reasonable suspicion for him to think that you're committing a crime, right? What's reasonable suspicion? The officer has to be able to articulate that a crime is being committed or a crime is afoot, right? So let's say, for an example, he stops you because he wants to have you stop recording him. That's not a crime. But if you're not within those 24 states where you're required to show your ID, you don't have to give him your ID. You can give him your name, right? So let's say, for an example, he does stop you and he's like, you know what? I want to see your ID. You kindly show him your ID and he investigates his suspicion. It's a brief detention. That's what it is. It's a brief detention, right? You give him your ID. You ask if you're free to go. If he says you're free to go, you can keep recording. You're not breaking any laws. Matter of fact, there's case law right now. A guy in Boston who the officers told him, put your phone up, stop recording, leave this area. And guess what? He did that. I think he did it or he didn't. But guess what came out of that? He was able to sue the police department, I think $50,000 to $65,000, because they violated his First Amendment constitutional right, freedom of speech, expression to be able to record, right? So that's fine. You do what you want to do. But what I'm saying is I have a First Amendment right, and that's what this is about. Do we have any questions? I just want to check in with you guys to see if there's questions.
Trina Jackson on Facebook is giving you the praise hand, so I assume that means she's grateful for the information.
Oh, thank you.
On Instagram, we've got underscore J005. How many feet is it legal to record without being considered as interference?
Okay, so that actually J22. What do you say?
Underscore J005.
Underscore
J005.
How about this? J Fly, right? Let's just recoin you, J Fly, right? How many feet is required to be back before the officers are considering you interfering or trying to bring a charge against obstruction, right? There's no case law that says you have to be 5 feet. You got to be 30 feet. You got to be way back here, right? You don't have to do that. There's no case law right now that's saying, hey, you have to be back a certain amount of feet. But if the officer instructs you and says, hey, please step back, right? Just step back. But there's no case law right now that I'm aware of, unless something was passed today within the last 24 hours, because I've been doing research in this area for you guys, that says you have to be back a certain amount of feet. If they say where the investigation or the criminal activity is going on, they're putting up yellow tape and they're saying, hey, you're interfering, you're too close, we cannot fulfill our duties as cops, and you don't get back, they could bring a charge against you called obstruction. Right? But then what you're going to do, you're going to have an attorney because you already have the number. And something like that in those states where officers have said, hey, they're too close, they're interfering, or they're obstructing the officer's line of duty of work, those cases have been dismissed. They're not standing. They've been dismissed. Okay? So that's how I would answer that.
We've got two questions that came in that are very similar. Nisi on a mission from Instagram is also asking the same question as Adrian in Texas. What if the officer aggressively asks for your phone?
The officer cannot take your phone. And look, let me let you guys know this, okay? If there's misconduct, like on my other videos, I talk about police misconduct and police brutality. You can find those on Shequel Ross on Facebook or the law offices of Shequel, okay? A police officer cannot take your phone. But let me explain something to you. I'm not being endorsed by these live stream video companies, but there are 5 of them that I did some research on. I want to let you guys know this. There's what's called Bamboozer. There's what's called Quick, Q-I-K. There's what's called Stream, STE.am. There's Periscope. There's Facebook Live, like what we're on. There's Instagram Live, right? So if an officer is threatening you, you're in your First Amendment right. You can record. I can record whatever I want because I have a First Amendment right, as long as I do it in a certain type of way. So if an officer is asking you to put your phone down, or if they're threatening to take your phone, they cannot confiscate your phone. But that's why it's good to have on your home screen an app where you can go into live recording right away. Because this is being recorded in a central location. Who knows, in a cloud, right? What does that really mean? But if they take your phone, think about it, and the phone is already past the passcode screen, they can damage it potentially. We've heard of those type of cases. They can erase the video. So that's why you want to make sure you Google free stream live apps for your cell phone, Android or iPhone, so it's on your home screen right away. When you see something going on, it's on there and it's being recorded at a centralized location. If they take your phone, if they break your phone, or if they commit misconduct with your phone, we can file something. We can file something internally with the police station. It's called an internal complaint. We can file something within you could file something within your state magistrate court. You can go pull out a warrant against the officer saying that he violated state law, right? Or if it's that egregious, or if there's damages, you can file a civil rights action under federal law. So he can't do that, but if he does do it, you have protections and you have things that you can do. I hope that answered your question. Do we have any other questions?
You kind of answered this one earlier. Akila from Georgia wants to know, do I have to notify that I'm recording?
No, you don't have to notify an officer that you're recording, but you don't have to do it secretly. So let's say, for an example, the question was, do you have to notify an officer that you're recording? You do not have to say, hey, officer, I am recording you, right? Because you have a First Amendment right to record. You have a First Amendment right to express yourself. Part of expression, there's cases on this where you literally, part of photographs, part of art, part of filming is actually one of your First Amendment rights. If you're recording and the officer tells you to stop recording, you can tell them, hey, I'm not interfering. I'm simply asserting my First Amendment right to record. But like I said, don't do it secretly. Don't do it behind your back. Don't do it secretly, because they could potentially bring some type of wiretapping, eavesdropping lawsuit against you. It's kind of tricky, right? I know. So that's why I'm saying always just be clear, always be upfront, and always let the officer know if they tell you to stop recording, let them know that you're asserting your First Amendment right. Okay, let's keep going. All right, so let's say, for an example, if the officer says, hey, I'm going to arrest you right now, right? At this point, this is not legal advice. At this point, you can make a decision. You can say, you know what? This is not worth it for me. I'm not gonna, I don't want to be arrested. So you have four types of options. You can turn it off. Let's say if it's past the point to where the officer's like, turn your phone off, you need to turn it off. Let's say if he's literally up in your face and you're getting hurt, he's bending your arms, we can file something later. The case will get dismissed, right? But on the scene, I want you guys to understand, if you feel threatened and you think it comes down to you getting arrested or not, you can make a decision. Either turn your phone off, you can prepare to get arrested, if you're trying to prove a point or whatever you're trying to do, or if you want to hire an attorney to set new case law, who knows what your real intention is. You can file a complaint with the police station, and I will help you do that, or whatever state you guys are in. You could reach out to an attorney and see about filing a complaint internally with the police station, state law, or under Federal Civil Rights Act. So basically, there's three things that you could do when it comes down to an officer aggressively past the point of asking you, where they say, I'm going to arrest you right now. Turn the phone off, prepare to get arrested, you could keep recording, or later you could file a complaint. So make a decision whether or not you want to be arrested, right? It might not matter to you. You understand what I'm saying? There's some people out there that might be like, I'm not doing this. But there might be some people that might say, you know what, I'm doing this, because I know I have a First Amendment right. The case is going to get dismissed potentially, okay? Okay, so let's say for an example, the officer asks you to unlock your phone. Let's say your phone falls and the officer says, hey, you know what? We need you to unlock your phone. We want to see what you recorded on your phone while we were over here doing what it is that we were doing. No, you don't have to unlock your phone, because guess what? The officers need a warrant, right? They need a warrant to be able to unlock your phone. So that's why I would suggest, I don't care if you're 109. My great-grandfather lived to be 121 years old, right? I don't care if you're 121 all the way down to 4 years old. 4-year-olds have cell phones now. Have a password-protected passcode on your phone. Live stream it. But let me give you an exception, a caveat to this. If you've been arrested, right, and if you've been live streaming, before you upload that, if you have been arrested, I would suggest that you contact an attorney, because there could be things on that video that you could or could not have said that could be held against you. And you don't want to self-incriminate yourself, okay? I just want to make sure that part is clear. Do we have any questions?
We do. There is Cassie from Bermuda. We've got some international people.
Oh, how cool. Hey, Cassie from Bermuda. I almost said the word wrong. It's hot. Sorry.
She wants to know if you have any information on how to handle filming a situation on a plane with U.S. Marshals. Are they considered police officers?
Ooh, that is, if it's a U.S. Marshal, that means it's federal. I am not sure. I think I'm going to hold off on that in regards to whether you could film a federal officer. I would think that an officer is an officer, because, you know, they take an oath, they're part, you know, they have certain duties that they carry out, and the Supreme Court has said that officers, when they're in their official line of work, they can be recorded. But I'm going to hold off on that because I'm not sure. Give me a call like in a week. I'll check on that for you. 855 SHElaw, and I'll be able to answer further that way, you know, just in case.
Okay. Anonymous person sent in a question. Are my police recordings admissible in court?
Okay, so this person is asking, are his police recordings admissible in court? Well, what I would like to say in regards to that is, you need a warrant. You need a warrant. I have a case right now where literally the officers came knocking at my guy's house saying that someone told them that he was a bystander recording and that they wanted the cell phone. So my guy was getting ready to go to the police station and turn the phone in. For what? What are you doing? Why? When you know you have stuff in there that might incriminate you, right? No, we're not turning phones in. They need a warrant, okay? And a warrant is based on probable cause. So no, we're not turning in any phones. And if you have questions about that, if an officer has contacted you saying, hey, we need you to turn in your phone, what you can do is you can contact an attorney and be advised by an attorney in regards to that cell phone. Because guess what? If there's something in that cell phone that is against you or that might incriminate you, you might get charges brought against you. So you don't want to be turning in anything, okay, without the advice of an attorney.
I have a question.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. If they take your phone, if you were a bystander looking at something that had nothing to do with you, can they use stuff in your phone that has nothing to do with that situation against you in another situation?
So the question is, let's say for an example, I'm recording you, and then do I see something else happen over here, or am I recording you and the officer?
Oh, okay, so say I record an entire incident. They take my phone just for that incident, but while having my phone in their possession, they see something else that's not related. I was taking Cuban cigars from somewhere last week.
Correct. Her question is, okay, so I'm recording an officer, right? I see something going on, police brutality, police misconduct, and all of a sudden they get a warrant and they're able to get my phone. Who knows how they go to the magistrate court, fill out the affidavit, the magistrate judge gives them permission to get the phone. They think it's something that connects to a crime in the phone. While looking in the phone, they see that Jane Doe is a drug dealer. They see that Jane Doe just sold Molly. They see that Jane Doe, they're able to get in Jane Doe's Facebook, passcode, password, IG, and see other things that incriminates her. Yes, buddy, they can bring charges against her because now they have probable cause to know that she is committed, or probable, more than less likely, that she has committed a crime. So that's why you don't want to be turning anything over to the police officers, helping them with their investigation. You're thinking it's about that and police misconduct. All of a sudden you're cooperating because you're trying to help, and now they observe something in your phone, and now you are getting charges brought against you because there's stuff in your phone that incriminates you. So no, do not give your phones over to the police officers. And if it's that serious, contact an attorney to further ask. Okay, do we have any more questions?
We have Brianna from Connecticut wants to know, is there a certain verbiage, you kind of touched on this, is there a certain verbiage to use when I'm recording if being asked what I'm doing?
Yeah, so Brianna, in regards to whether or not there's certain type of verbiage that you should be doing or you should be saying, if an officer pulls you over, or if you're observing police misconduct or police brutality and he asks you to turn your phone off, you basically say, officer, I'm not interfering. I'm simply asserting my First Amendment right to record you. And like I said, you're not going to hold it in their face. You're not going to hold it a certain type of way. You are simply going to hold it as though you're a media caster, a media journalist, whoever you are, and record, right? That's how you're going to record. If they say step back, you can kindly say, where would you like me to step? If they say turn it off now, no. And you could also even say, officer, I am not interfering. I'm asserting my First Amendment right to record you. You are being documented at an on-site location. And you simply push your home screen and push one of your free live stream app icons on your phone. So that way they know if they destroy your phone, they take your phone, they ruin your phone, you're being recorded in the cloud. Jesus is seeing it. Everything's going to the cloud with Jesus. Okay? All right, I hope that answers that question. Do we have any more questions? Okay, no more questions. All right, so let's keep going. Let's wrap this up. So basically, in conclusion, let's go through this really quickly. In conclusion, you have a First Amendment right to be able to record police officers, to be able to record people in public, to be able to record the mom, the pop, the dad, anybody. Police officers, there's a certain thing called a police officer exception rule, where if a police officer is in his official line of work, if he is on duty, there is nothing that's preventing you from recording an officer. Be safe in how you hold your phone. Don't hold it like a gun. Hold it down. If an officer tells you to turn your phone off, step back, buddy, step back, pal, starts, harassing you, telling you they're gonna take your phone, telling you you're gonna be arrested, no, that charge can't stand, because you're gonna contact an attorney, 855-5-SHElaw, Shequel, and we're gonna get that case dismissed. There's several cases right now where officers have ruined people's phone, taken people's phone, told them to turn their phone off, and basically they've won those cases because they can't do that. You can record under the First Amendment. Like I said, if it gets really, really, really bad and the officer, because this could potentially happen to you guys, where 18 other officers come and they're like, give me your phone and this and that. I can't say that this is always going to be nice and dandy. But if it gets out of hand and they're threatening or they're about to arrest you, at that point, you have to make a decision. Do you want to be arrested? Do you want to turn your phone off? Because you're already live streaming and recording, okay? And you would want to contact an attorney because you're going to file a complaint internally through state law or through an attorney who is a federal civil rights attorney. Okay? So basically, that is it, you guys. A real short, brief session. If you think you know where I'm at, like I said, we're having the Where Is She At challenge. Attorney Shequel Ross here. And if you know where I'm at, inbox me, let my staff know. I'll be able to give you guys something. I'll figure out, the end of the challenge, and that's how we're going to keep doing. I'm going to keep getting this information out to you guys. And in conclusion, thank you for joining me. Make sure you always have your phone ready, you always have your phone operable, and you're able to record the officers. You don't have to turn it off. You can keep doing what it is you do. Follow me on Facebook, the law offices of Shequel Ross, or Shequel Ross, on IG at SHElaw Office, and Twitter at SHElaw Office, YouTube Shequel Ross, the website www.SHElawfirm.com. And guess what, guys? I have now, you're able to go to the website and download your free Miranda rights card. So if an officer does ask you questions, or if they are harassing you, you're pulled over or anything, you can simply give them your ID with your Miranda rights card. I have everything that's on that Miranda rights card. I'm making it so you don't even have to talk. right? I've done all the talking for you. I don't need you to mess up the case. So I already got the little wallet-sized Miranda rights cards. They're free on the website, www.SHElawfirm.com. Stay tuned for my next live event. And if there's anything that I didn't cover or anything that you guys do want me to discuss or answer, inbox me. All you guys are inboxing me with these questions. Keep it coming. I don't care if it's about whether or not you go to the club and you step on somebody's toe. Is that a battery? Keep these questions coming, and I'll keep answering them for you guys. And I just have one thing to say, right? I'm Shequel. It's SHElaw Firm. So is Shequel your attorney? If she is your attorney, you should already have the number. But just in case you don't, it's 855-5-SHElaw.